Hello and welcome back to Football Daily, where with the hunt for trophies this season well and truly underway, we've decided to profile an XI of the best players never to have lifted silverware. Let's get started. Goalkeeper, Samir Handanovic. It didn't take long, just 18 games in the Slovenian top flight to be exact, for a then 20-year-old Samir Handanovic to catch the eye of Udinese in the summer of 2004. After two loan spells with Treviso and Lazio, the Slovenian established himself, missing just 11 league games over the following 5 seasons. Always excellent talent identifiers, the 81-cap shot stopper was able to play with talents including Benatia, Asamoah Cuadrado and Alexis Sanchez during his time in northeast Italy. And whilst they finished as high as third in his final season there, a final, yet alone a trophy, eluded him. In the summer of 2012, Julio Cesar made the interesting decision to swap the San Siro for QPR, and Handanovic was brought in as his replacement. The 6'4" keeper seemed well placed to finally break his duck, with the Nerazzurri having won 6 trophies over the preceding 2 seasons, including that famous treble. But unfortunately, the sales of players including Coutinho, Kovacic, Shaqiri, Banega and Kondogbia have ensured that Inter have never finished higher than 4th or reached a domestic final during his time at the club. It's a crying shame that having been named as the league's best keeper on 3 occasions, the now 35-year-old has never lifted the trophy his ability deserves. Right back, Kieran Trippier. Kieran Trippier seems to have greatly increased his chances of winning his first piece of silverware since swapping North London for sunny Madrid. Yes, Spurs' transformation under Pochettino from a side who finished in the top 4 twice in 24 years to one who has only missed out once in the last 5, along with reaching their first European final in 35 years, is remarkable. But Simeone's men have won 7 trophies in 8 years, the same amount as Spurs since 1970. Before we move on any further though, just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a video. In fairness to Trippier, he actually hasn't had that many opportunities. After struggling to break through at Man City and spending 2 seasons on loan at Barnsley, he decided his best bet was to sign for then Championship side Burnley. Promoted as runners-up in May 2014 after one impressive season in the Premier League in which he missed just 4 minutes of action, providing 4 assists in the process, Pochettino brought him to White Hart Lane for just £4 million. Both parties profited off the move, with Trippier establishing himself as an England regular, whilst assisting 13 goals in 63 Premier League games. Eyebrows were raised when Spurs were willing to sell him to Atleti for just £20 million without bringing in a replacement. But after some costly errors last season, not least in the Champions League against Ajax, perhaps a fresh start is what was needed for player and club. Centre-back, Jonathan Tarr. It's no surprise that with Bayer Leverkusen having only finished in the top 2 once in the last 17 years, and last winning a trophy in 1993, that Jonathan Tarr, a Der Werkstoff player since July 2015, has gone trophyless at club level. But having been a German youth international for the last 8 years, making 38 appearances for the under-15s to the under-21s, 20 more than Michael Ballack managed, it's surprising he hasn't tasted success in his country's famous white strip. The former Hamburg centre-back was even eligible to play for the under-21 side this summer, despite turning 23 in February. But despite playing in a side that included Nubel, Klostermann and De Hood, Die Mannschaft Juniors lost out in the final to Spain. Despite losing their talisman Julian Brandt this summer, Peter Bosz managed to bring in highly rated Demirbay, Moussa Diaby and Emery, while spending a net £14 million. Even so, it seems highly unlikely that Tarr will be able to win his first trophy anytime soon. And with Bayern and Dortmund bringing in Pavard and Hummels respectively over him, Tarr will need to remain patient to change his fortunes. Centre-back, Stefan De Vries. Stefan De Vries must have been jumping for joy when Antonio Conte was appointed Inter Milan boss this summer. Not only is Conte a proven winner who has won 4 league titles in his last 5 seasons in club management, but he's also led one of their closest rivals Juventus through an entire league season unbeaten and procured their first 100-point season in their 121-year history. Having finished a distant 21 points off Allegri's men last campaign, Conte quickly set about revolutionising a side that hasn't won a league title for 9 seasons, putting aside Nainggolan and Icardi and bringing in promising talents like Sensi, Barella and Radu, and proven stars like Godin and Lukaku. Having performed admirably when fit in his debut season following his free transfer from Lazio in May 2018, completing 82% of his tackles and nearly 92% of his passes on average, he has arguably never had a better chance to lift that elusive first piece of silverware in the coming seasons. Left-back Leighton Baines. A 2-time PFA Team of the Year member and Everton Player of the Year, 34-year-old Leighton Baines has had a fantastic career. Although his opportunities at Goodison Park have been limited since the arrival of Luca Digne in August 2018, prior to that Baines had played over 30 league games in 8 of his 11 seasons in Merseyside. His performances during that run of games were absolutely superb, and he now has 32 goals and 53 assists to his name in 412 Premier League appearances. 39 more goal contributions than Ashley Cole. And although Baines can rightly be proud of his 30 England caps and 2 World Cup appearances, his trophy cabinet remains disappointingly empty. His first big opportunity came when then Championship side Wigan beat Newcastle, Bolton and Arsenal to find themselves in the final of the 2006 League Cup final. But a then 22-year-old Baines was powerless to prevent a rampant United running out 4-0 victors. 3 years later, the Kirkby-born fullback got even closer when his Everton side took the lead against Chelsea in the FA Cup final only to lose 2-1. Now entering the twilight of his career, it seems highly likely those will be his only chances of his excellent career. Centre mid, Bernd Schneider. Whereas many on our list so far have either been playing for average sides or just starting out their careers, Bernd Schneider's career was just painfully unlucky. Having emerged at German second-tier club Karl Zeiss Jena, he moved on to Frankfurt before settling at Bayer Leverkusen, where he scored 53 goals in 364 appearances over the following 10 campaigns. In fact, when he hung up his boots in May 2009, only 7 players had made more appearances and only 11 scored more goals for the club than the player better known for his creativity. Despite his longevity and quality of performances, Schneider was the perennial bridesmaid of German football, finishing as a Bundesliga runner-up on 3 separate occasions. This includes the 2001-2 season when Die Werkself passed up the opportunity to become the first German treble winners, losing 3 competitions in the space of 2 weeks. As if that wasn't enough, his curse followed him to the national team, with Schneider finishing as a World Cup runner-up 6 weeks later, as well as in 3rd place in 2006. Centre mid, Socrates. Widely considered to be one of the greatest midfielders of his generation, Socrates truly was his own man. Not only was he a crucial member of arguably the greatest team never to win the World Cup, the 1982 Brazil side, which included the talents of Zico and Falcao, but his political awareness and medical degree earned him the nickname Dr. Socrates. As if that wasn't enough, his easily recognisable beard and headband made him one of the early football fashion icons, and defined a generation where footballers finally became more than just athletes. But while Socrates might have been talented enough to score 22 goals in 60 games for the Seleção over a 7-year period, his trophy cabinet somehow remains empty. The team he captained in '82 failed to get out of the groups, and his 3 goals 4 years later saw them through to the quarter-finals where they lost to France on penalties, with Socrates failing to score his effort. A 3rd place and runner-up in the Copa America and some state championships with Corinthians were all the magician had to show for his 15-year career. Central midfield, Matt Le Tissier. Matt Le Tissier for Southampton is more than just a legend. The first midfielder to score 100 Premier League goals and one of the greatest penalty takers of all time, scoring a ridiculous 47 out of a possible 48, the Saints faithful view Le Tiss as less of a man and more of a deity. It's not difficult to see why. After all, their Guernsey-born talent rose through the ranks to make 540 appearances for the club, finishing with an incredible 209 goals. He finished with more than 20 league goals in a single season on 3 occasions, 2 more times than Frank Lampard, the greatest English goal-scoring midfielder of the next generation. Le Tissier was already 24 by the advent of the Premier League, but still finished with 100 goals and 64 assists in 270 appearances in the competition. That's 9 more assists than Paul Scholes, who played 10 more Premier League campaigns, and more goals than Van Nistelrooy, Solskjaer or Hazard ever managed. Whilst Le Tissier never got his hands on a trophy, with the closest he ever came being a 2nd place in the Full Members' Cup in 1992, the decline of Southampton once he left shows his impact. Having not been relegated for 24 years, just 3 seasons after he left, Southampton went down, and 4 years after that they were in League One. Right wing, Stan Collymore. Robbie Savage gets a lot of grief on social media for freely offering his forthright opinions without having ever played for a top club. But at least the Welsh midfielder has a League Cup medal to his name, one under Martin O'Neill at Leicester, which is more than you can say for the equally outspoken Stan Collymore. That isn't to say that Collymore's career doesn't deserve respect. After all, here was a striker who recovered from being released at Wolves and set about working his way up the football pyramid. Within 3 years of turning out for conference side Stafford Rangers, he was signing for Nottingham Forest. 2 years and 41 goals and 65 appearances later, and Collymore joined Liverpool for an English record £8.5 million. His 24-month stay at Anfield did include an incredibly fruitful partnership with Robbie Fowler, which yielded 55 goals between them in the 1995-96 campaign, and a key role in one of the most exciting games in Premier League history. His side's 4-3 victory over Newcastle in April 1996, in which he scored the 92nd minute winner. But by the end of his 2nd season, Collymore was dropped by Roy Evans for off-the-field incidents, and the emergence of Michael Owen meant the Reds were only too willing to sell him to Aston Villa, where his career began to peter out. Striker, Harry Kane. Harry Kane is without doubt one of the best in the world in his position. Despite only just turning 26, he is already 13th on the all-time Premier League goal-scoring charts. 60 more goals, which at current rates will take 3 seasons maximum, and he will be 3rd on that list and still just 29. What's more, his goals per game ratio of 0.69, which is incidentally level with Sergio Aguero, has never been topped in the history of the competition. And although personal accolades including a PFA Young Player of the Year, 2 Golden Boots and 4 inclusions in the PFA Team of the Seasons have followed him throughout, that elusive first trophy has so far evaded him. When Kane plays well, Spurs inevitably do too, and at no time was that more evident than during the 2016-17 campaign. The Walthamstow-born striker managed a quite ridiculous 29 league goals in 30 games and 30 in 35 in all competitions. That season, Spurs lost just 4 league games, a figure never topped in their 123-year history, and ended up finishing with 86 points, 5 more than champions Leicester managed the season before. But ultimately, when it has come down to it, Kane hasn't delivered, with injuries hampering his performance in the 2019 Champions League final, where he managed just 1 attempt on goal, and his side simply being outperformed by Chelsea in the 2015 League Cup final. Luckily, Kane still has plenty of time on his hands to turn that around. Left wing, Antonio Di Natale. When Antonio Di Natale retired at the end of the 2015-16 season, he was rightly acclaimed as a Udinese and Italian football legend. After all, he was a striker who had hit double figures for league goals in 10 Serie A seasons and more than 20 on 4 occasions, and retired as the 5th highest scorer in Italian football history. And in fairness to Di Natale, bar Roma legend Totti, none of the players ahead of him operated after 1976, in a time when the pace of the game and fitness of defenders was entirely different. Di Natale's achievement is brought further into light by the fact he scored 21 more goals than Del Piero, 25 more than Gabigol, and a massive 53 more than AC Milan legend Filippo Inzaghi. And whilst he was never likely to pick up a trophy at Empoli, his 12 years at Udinese failed to produce a single trophy, meaning that his quite frankly ridiculous 111 goals between 2009 and 2012 went unrewarded. Hey, at least he has the memories of his 42 Italy caps and 2 Serie A Golden Boots to keep him warm at night. So that was our XI of the best players never to win a trophy. What did you guys think of our list? Let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, check out all our other content, and I'll see you next time. Bye!